Hello out there. This is Annie Sprinkles bringing you the Daily Scoop here on Monday, April 4th. Thank you and welcome back to my regular followers. For those of you who have just tuned in for the very first time, the Daily Scoop is about delicious homemade ice cream and information about how to recognize, prevent, and educate each other on issues of domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, and other adverse traumas that are affecting our loved ones and people around us in pandemic proportions. So here on the Daily Scoop, I'm sharing personal stories, local stories, and sometimes national and worldwide news on the subject of trauma or violence. And, you know, as we know, these kinds of stories are in the headlines all the time. They're very uncomfortable. Sometimes they're unfathomable. Sometimes we just can't wrap our head around it because they're just so disturbing. But we need more people to stand up and speak out and learn more about it and understand it and take action. So here at the Daily Scoop, it's my commitment to raise public awareness in efforts to help one another. So we'll know how to prevent it, interrupt it, and provide resources for help. And heal our traumas so we can be happy and healthy. But just like making good ice cream, it takes fresh ingredients and a harmonious blend of natural sweetness. We are all very powerful people, and we have the strength to influence and create more peace and harmony in our world. So it's my aim to make these issues and these topics just a bit more palatable with a daily scoop of my delicious homemade ice cream. So today's flavor of the day is chocolate fudge cake. Now it's not ice cream cake, it's cake ice cream. It's delicious. So if you want to inquire about the Daily Scoop or you want to acquire some delicious scoops, private message me on Facebook. So today's scoop, I'm going to remind folks about some upcoming events. And if you haven't noticed yet on the screen, there is a picture of me with, I don't know if anybody will recognize him. There was a time he was famous, and his name is Ace. And he was on American Idol or one of those music shows some years ago. And he came to Rochester to help us with an awareness raiser, 98PXY. Sandy Waters and I and Scott Spizzano coordinated this community event. And Ace came to town for it. And because we've been talking about the ACE study and ACEs, I thought I would be a complete dork and put that picture of me and Ace up. All right? So this upcoming event about the ACE study, it's a free event, April 13th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be at Monroe Community College, and there are 500 available seats. So if you do want to register, this is open to the public, people also who, you know, work in schools, nurses, doctors, of course all the agencies have been contacted that are part of the Domestic Violence Consortium, and everyone's invited. So it's being sponsored by Monroe County Stop DWI, and as well as a collaborative group called Healthy Communities, Healthy Youth. So register for this, again, 500 seats, 753-3011 if you want to register for this, this event that's going to talk more about the ACE study. And on previous posts, you can go back, again, first listeners, listen to some previous posts so you know what we're talking about here with the ACE study. But folks that have been tuning in, I just want to share again what they'll be covering at this event, but you might also, I've got some other information here about it that I want to share, and I just don't know how deep they'll dive, but I've got some local statistics here from a survey and a study they did, and actually there were 1,464 respondents, and they only counted and included in the survey the people that answered all 11 ACE questions. Okay, and they were selected randomly from 16 different school districts. Okay, so again, this is Monroe County, and the 11 ACE questions were prior to the age of 18. This is what the ACE study is based on. So if any of these adverse childhood experiences were in your life prior to you turning 18, physical abuse, a household member being incarcerated, parental separation or divorce, alcohol and drug abusers in the home, sexual abuse, household member with a chronic mental illness, not having enough money for food or housing, lack of family support, emotional abuse, violence between adults in the home, witnessing that, and witnessing community violence, okay? War is also included in that. So those are ACEs, and then they did this risk behavior study, okay? So what they found with these 1,464 respondents, let's see, 30% had no ACEs, okay? So of the 11, 0 ACEs. 25% had 1 ACE. Let's see, 17% had 2 ACEs. 12% had 3 ACEs. And 16% had 4 or more ACEs. So, you know, compared to youth with no ACEs, a youth with 4 or more ACEs are at over 4 times risk of experiencing mental health difficulties, 6 times more likely to have considered suicide, and 20 times more likely to have attempted suicide in the past 12 months. Nearly 4 times more likely to have gotten into a fight within the last within the last year, and 3.5 times more likely to have carried a weapon in the past month. 1.5 times more likely to be currently using alcohol. Okay, these are high school kids, right? Teens being at nearly 3 times the risk of currently using marijuana, and at 25 times greater risk of using marijuana before they turned 13. They're also 18 times more likely to be using other drugs other than marijuana, cocaine and other drugs. Okay, so that's just some ACE statistics right here in Monroe County. So you'll learn more about the ACE study. If you're interested in this, then you'll learn about resilience, and you know how the good news is resilience can really bring back health and hope, right? After bad things happen. So that's what we really want to focus on is, you know, that resilience really trumps these ACEs, and there are resources out there. There are ways to get help. No matter how old you are, you can heal this trauma. Even if it was an adverse childhood experience in your 40s now, like some people, you know, come out and speak about things much later in life. But it doesn't matter. You can still get help. Okay, another event I want to talk about here coming up is on Saturday, April 16th. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., we've got the annual Family Fun Day. And this is for National Crime Victims' Rights Week. And we'll have all kinds of, about 12 or 13 different agencies will be there, from police agencies, sheriffs, victim advocates, all of these resources we've been talking about on the Scoop, Willow, Restore, Bavona. I'm not sure if the men's program will be there, but I'm sure there'll be information about it. They'll have face painting, and you can learn about crime prevention, and you know, they're going to have food and beverages and stuff like that donated by Wegmans, who is always so gracious to do that every year. So as also followers of the Daily Scoop know, Jim kicks things off here at this event every year with a song he wrote 10 years ago called Harmony. And that song is to bring peace and harmony to our community and raise awareness about this. And he convenes everyone around 10:15 in the morning, and he'll kick things off with the Harmony song. And then I believe the county executive will have a few words, and then they're going to have all kinds of fun things for the kids and for the adults to participate in. So please join us for that Family Fun Day event, and that is absolutely free also, okay? So I am going to share a story from the quilt before we close the Daily Scoop today. I just thought I'll make it quick, let you know about some of these events, talk a little bit more about the ACE study, and also just about some events that are coming up here in April that you can participate in, and then of course learn even more than you're already learning right here. Okay, so one of the stories I wanted to read today it's one of the survivor stories. And this could resonate with, the reason why I want to read this is this really could resonate with anyone who has experienced any form of trauma. But this particular survivor I knew and met while I was at the shelter. Okay, so we don't disclose that information, but I will read her contribution to the Harmony quilt, which is one of the stories. It's called A Shelter of Safe Haven. It was so scary to see so many others who had been through what I lived. No longer am I alone. All of us resembled soldiers of war who had been to war. Haunted by nightmares and flashbacks, reliving the horror over and over. Sleepless nights easily started, uncontrollable crying, forever apologizing. Always on guard, expecting an attack, lost and wandering, a kind of numb and frozen state. Vacant stares, unable to envision a future, despair and hopelessness. Contemplating suicide and other crazy things. Human cruelty seen up close. Losses, stress-related illnesses, permanent injuries, disabilities, drug and alcohol addictions. It's hard to comprehend how once vibrant, caring, talented women became so powerless. We are here because we have paid a price. This is the tragedy of domestic abuse. And yes, it is a crime. Written by a survivor in 1998. So that's one of the stories from the quilt, the Harmony quilt, I just wanted to share today. And there is your Daily Scoop for Monday, April 4th. Thanks for tuning in to my regular listeners and to anybody that was new today tuning in. I hope you'll join us again. Friend me on Facebook and look for the Daily Scoop. This is Annie Sprinkles signing off.